an assessor working at the Centre for Sustainable Energy. We're a charity based in Bristol. We have a variety of projects around fuel poverty, research, local energy, and retrofit. And retrofit is the department I work in. It's a really good opportunity coming to an event like this for us to be able to see what's sort of coming up next in the world of retrofit in terms of the products and materials and the approaches, but also things like the software that's going to be available. I personally work on a lot of the government grant-funded schemes, so it's interesting to see which products we might be able to use in the next round of funding. Things which are going to work for owner-occupiers, social housing, private tenants. The approach is very different for different types of buildings. So yeah, there's everything under the sun here, I suppose, in terms of different technologies that might be useful on these schemes. Yeah, consumer reluctance with retrofit measures is a big challenge for us. I think especially working in the world of sort of grant-funded work, which is what I do. Even though the measures are free, there is still quite a lot which can hold people back from going for it. Quite often it's lack of familiarity with things being installed, and that often isn't helped by the sort of handover process where people might not necessarily be given a very good explanation of what's being installed into their home. So we need to kind of work to improve people's confidence in what's being installed. And also improve people's confidence in the quality of the installs. The availability of installers is a big problem that we face across the board, and finding the right installer for certain measures can be really difficult. And obviously, consumer confidence has been knocked by several examples of retrofit gone wrong. So we need to kind of improve people's confidence that it can be done right. And obviously, everything that's happening here at this event is sort of going in a direction of steering people towards best practice, finding solutions which are going to make the whole thing run a bit smoother, finding technology which is more intuitive, less sort of complicated to explain to sort of elderly and vulnerable customers. So yeah, that's an aspect of it we're really keen on, is sort of finding out about technology which is going to be easy to explain to people and easy for people to understand how it works in our home. It's really important to be able to monitor the outcomes and sort of set specific aims for the retrofit. Part of the issue there is sort of addressing the sort of gap, the performance gap between what you're intending to install and what actually happens. I guess an example of that would be the coefficient performance of heat pumps, where you have they have been designed for a specific coefficient performance, but are they actually meeting that in practice? It'd be really good to sort of see more of this happening, so we can get an understanding of whether the things that have been installed are meeting a sort of performance that was specified, essentially. It's something which I suppose we haven't seen a whole lot of we haven't really seen enough post-install evaluation, really. That sort of goes beyond just monitoring the performance of the insulation, but it's also making sure that it's been handed over properly to the resident so that they understand what they're doing with it, essentially. Training is a really important component of retrofit, and something that we really had to put a lot of focus into in the coming decades, really. Part of the issue we've got is that there is a sort of shortage of skilled installers for certain measures, particularly particularly with sort of more complex measures like internal wall insulation and external wall insulation. Installers need to have a really good understanding of the building they're working with and the products they're working with, and sort of training around how to deal with complex and heritage homes and how the approach differs with these type of homes. That's all really important. And obviously, retrofit can be a really difficult thing to do, and to get it right is really important. You don't want to have an adverse impact on the building. You want to make sure what you're doing is benefiting the building. At the moment, the bottleneck does seem to be on the sort of the installer side of things, where it can be really frustrating that we can sort of help someone plan what's going to happen to their home, and give them a really good idea of what the correct steps are going to be. But then the problem you can quite often be then finding someone who is finding the sort of availability of people who can carry out that work to a suitable standard. Finance is a huge sort of obstruction and barrier to retrofit. It can be extremely expensive to retrofit your home, especially if you do have an unusual home or a heritage home where the approach might be something a little bit more unusual. And that finance barrier can stop people doing it because they have other things they need to focus on spending their money on. Obviously, the grant schemes can really help with this, and we've seen the grant schemes unlock amazing potential in people's homes and bring them measures which they would not have been able to afford otherwise. But we are still working with a very tight budget with the grant schemes, and we're still not able to do very deep retrofits on people's homes a lot of the time due to the sort of combined cost of everything needs to go in. So yeah, finding ways to unlock this is really important, and sort of finding new ways to finance retrofit or make it better value is something we need to think about for sure. So the benefit of coming to the CSE for your retrofit advice is we're completely independent and impartial. So we're not going to try and sell you something. We're going to find you the solution which is the right thing for your home.